Hello and welcome back to Mr. Moher Music and my classical legends. Today we are having a look at Ludwig van Beethoven. So, two tasks for you to complete. One, on a separate video, to identify where the members of the orchestra sit. We'll talk about that later. And have a listen to some Mozart and see if you can learn some facts about him. So let's get started. This is what he looked like, Ludwig van Beethoven. He composed during the classical era. He is from Bonn in Germany. Now, he is a tricky one. We don't know quite when he was born. A mystery. And he died on the 26th of March 1827. Now, trying to pick one major work that he composed was really difficult, so I picked his Fifth Symphony. We might have a look at that in a minute. So let's look at where he was composing in history then. As I said, the classical era between 1750 and 1820 is when this genre of orchestral music was being composed. And let's look a little bit more about Beethoven. Some say he was rude. Beethoven was quite often scruffy, rude, aggressive, unpredictable, and definitely eccentric, quite over the top. He was quite an unexpected genius. To look at him, you wouldn't think much, but his music told a different story. But tragedy. He was 28 and started to go deaf. And not that long after, he couldn't hear the notes he was composing anymore, and he had to imagine them in his head. He tried loads of different inventions to try and help him hear, such as brass ear trumpet and different things, but none of them worked. So eventually he was composing in silence. Imagine that. You are composing a piece of music for an orchestra and you think, I would like an instrument to play this tune. And then you're like, which instrument? You have to remember the sound of every single instrument in the orchestra. Then you have to write it down by hand onto paper, and then you have to make sure the notes that every member of the orchestra are playing go together and are the tune you want them to play. That is incredible. What a great composer. So your task: listen to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Not the whole symphony. You'll be there for a long time. We're just going to listen to the first movement. Now, symphonies are huge pieces of work for a full orchestra, and Beethoven composed 9 of them. Now, we're listening to his Fifth Symphony, and it's probably one of the most recognisable openings of a piece of orchestral music. Some say that it was the greatest melody ever written. And in this piece, we are only listening to the first movement of 4 movements. Now, Beethoven started composing in 1804, and it took him 4 years to write this piece. The first 4 notes of this piece of music are probably the most famous motif of all time. So, you're going to listen to this piece after this, and there is a listening worksheet. You can download it from the description box below. You should be able to answer all the questions, either by something I've already said in this video, so you might need to rewatch it, or from listening to the piece. When you've done that, an extra challenge for you. The video after that is entitled The Orchestra. I'm going to guide you through step by step to label where all of the different instruments sit in the orchestra. it's a little bit difficult, so it might take you a few attempts, but I think it's a great fun activity. Now, this piece of music is incredible.